Hey, what's up guys, TBL here, and the Division has finally arrived. That's right, it's time to lace up your boots, strap on your gun, and fight to take back New York City. But there is a lot to do in the Division, and for you agents who have only recently been activated, here are some quick tips to help you get started. When you first start up the game, the area you initially spawn into is sort of a training area. There won't be much to do aside from a single mission and maybe one or two side missions. However, once you've cleared those up, you'll head into Camp Hudson where the game really opens up. Your first tip is to pick up the situational report from the JTF officer. Speaking to her will unlock several side missions across your map that will reward you with EXP, gear like weapons and armor, and items that can later be used for crafting and upgrading your base of operations. In addition to the JTF officer, make sure you scan the map board before leaving Camp Hudson. Doing this will unlock several encounters across the map. Encounters will serve as repeatable mini-missions that will offer EXP and items upon completion. This might seem like two pretty basic steps, but for players who didn't play the beta, it's really easy to miss them the first time around. However, now that you've got these side quests unlocked, do them. You'll now have several side missions and encounters across the board, and it's definitely worth getting them all done even before you get your first story quest. Completing all of these side missions will grant you a ton of early EXP, as well as some pretty great gear that will be synced to your level. Now, most of them are simple assault missions where you'll just have to go into a secluded area and clear out a group of enemies, generally with a boss or bosses at the end. The bosses themselves generally drop loot, and there will almost always be a chest or chests nearby. This can be a great way to get some decent starting gear very early on, and will make the grind to level up and upgrade your base of operations even faster. Now, if you're spending a lot of time completing side quests, chances are you've probably filled out your backpack at least once or twice. Now, you do have limited space in this game, but don't sell the items you no longer need. It's hard to resist the allure of making a little bit more money, but with the items that you're going to be getting at the beginning of the game, you're only going to be making pennies on the dollar. So instead, when you're holding on to gear that you no longer need, deconstruct it. Deconstructing an item will break it down into its base materials, which can then be used in this game's crafting system to make all new items. The crafting system in this game is unlocked once you reach the base of operations. Now, you'll have a few recipes right off the bat, but for the most part you'll have to find them out in the game world. And to make the armor and weapons that you find in blueprints, you'll need those deconstructed base material items. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you have as many as you can get. Believe me, you don't want to get to a point where you're having to buy weapons and armor just to deconstruct it. So if you start deconstructing your unneeded weapons and armor now, you'll be way ahead of the game. Additionally, for you agents who pre-ordered the game, you'll find the rewards vendor in the very back of your base of operations underneath the tech wing. He'll have plenty of gear available for you, including weapons, armor, some glamour items, and some backpacks. The Paramedic and Police Backpacks in particular are of interest, as the extra ammo and medkit capacity that they each afford can be kept even when switching to another bag. Basically, equip the police bag, head to the restock area, restock, and then switch over to the medkit bag and restock again. Even though you switched away from the police or paramedic bag, you'll retain the 75% ammo capacity buff and the 2 extra medkits on whatever bag you switch to. Now, this is probably considered a glitch and it'll probably be patched before long, but you can definitely take advantage of it right now. Overall, it's just a nice little way to have a little bit of extra ammunition and 2 extra medkits, which can of course be more than a lifesaver in the early game. Take advantage of it while you can. Next up, there's matchmaking for story missions in this game, so do them on hard mode. The difficulty level of missions can be toggled at the start, and if you run it on hard, there will be more enemies who are more powerful, but they'll also yield more EXP and better items at the end. Missions can be run either solo or in a group, although it is worth saying that if you run in a group, you will be able to enjoy the benefits of a full fire team, but you'll also have to contend with more enemies who are more powerful. But generally speaking, the risks are well worth the reward, as the enhanced drops in EXP will have you ranking up in no time. And the last beginner's tip I have for you is to play around a bit with your sensitivity settings. Personally, I found that right off the bat, the aiming was a little bit sluggish in this game. And coming from faster based shooters, this threw me off a little bit. So for me, bumping up the sensitivity was a no-brainer. Now it might not be for everyone and you might have to play around with the settings until they reach a point in which you're comfortable. But for a faster, more responsive experience, I would definitely recommend at least playing around with the sensitivity a little bit. It definitely worked out for me. But alright, those are just a few quick tips to help you beginner agents get your start in the Division. If you follow them, you should be swimming in loot and EXP in no time flat. But that being said, this is only the very beginning of the game, and there is a lot more content to cover. Look forward to it. We've still got a Dark Zone guide and some late game PvE content to cover, and I can't wait to dive into it. But alright, that's it for this one, agents. If you've got any quick tips of your own, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. We're out for now, and as always, I am TheBlackLink. You agents stay frosty.